So just last month, we saw the three Singapore local banks, DBS, OCBC, and even UOB surging up by more than 6 to 7% as they broke some of the key levels. They have been trading below for more than a year, right? But over the past few days, it seems like some selling is actually coming back because the market is slightly weaker. So where are we right now for these three banks, DBS, UOB, and OCBC? Can we see more selling ahead? Where are certain levels that buyers are starting to come back and you might think about getting in again? Let's find out in this video. So if you like this video, guys, go ahead and give me a like, hit the subscribe button so that you will not miss out on videos like this. And we will dive into the charts for like DBS, OCBC, and even UOB. And we will even look at the system that I have to see what it says and if we have any bullish or maybe bearish signals that have came out over the past 1 to 2 weeks. Let's go. Okay, so here is DBS trading at about 35.97. You can see right over here, right? So just last month, I did a video as well on the Singapore banks, and I mentioned that we actually broke above this very key level. That would be around that 34.50. Look at this, right? We kind of like touch it somewhere in August last year, one time, two times. We neared it, all right, neared it again, and finally, all right, that $34.50 level gave way, all right, and that's where some upside targets were drawn. We could see more upside momentum, right? So indeed, we have hit it a little bit higher, but it seems like some selling has came back at this very key level. Well, what level is that? Let me go to draw this resistance level, right? This would be what we call a resistance level. It seems like over the past 1 to 2 weeks, we have headed over there and some selling is coming back right over here. So why is this even a resistance? Well, you can see that 2 years back, right? 2 years back over here in 2022, February, right over here. Let me just show you, right? You can see that we kind of, saw what we call a bearish candlestick. So this is what we call like a spinning top, a little bit bearish, and it happened right near that $37. And after this candlestick, you can see that sellers actually came back and we traded all the way down. So that was like about 2 years back, and it just means that this resistance level at about 37 is pretty strong, right? If we were to hit there again, we can potentially see selling. So yeah, indeed, this is happening right now. You can see that we kind of headed over here, $37, and yeah, somewhere over here we kind of like hit it there. I think it was like about 36.6 something, all right, near 37, and sellers came back. It didn't even touch 37, right? Somewhere near it, and sellers started to come back. We have since traded a little bit lower, right? So what should we be doing right now on DBS? Can there actually be more upside? Well, I would say that after breaking this 34.50 resistance level, that is a good thing because we have been consolidating below this level for a year, for in fact more than a year, right? So we have broke this level, and you see that this 34.50 would be what we call a new support level right now. So let me just turn this line from red to green, and if we were actually to retrace back down to like near 34.50 or maybe even 35, right? Even 35, that would be like a new support level. So not even 34.50. It seems like we have found a higher support level. Let me go ahead to see if we can draw another higher support level above 34.50, right? So maybe somewhere over here as well, right over here. You can see that was where we saw a bit of a resistance, we sold off, and yeah, it seems like over the past 2 weeks, buyers are starting to come back near 34.50. Look at this, right? So a couple of rebounds, a couple of bullish candles, prices pushing back up. Today as well, I think the low was at about 35.51, all right, 35.51, and buyers started to come back, all right, and we saw a rebound from 35.50 as well. So yeah, I think near-term support level could have been raised from 34.50, all right, to about 35.50 right now. So it used to be, right over here, all right, but now I think the support has gone a bit higher because past 2 weeks, it seems like even though we have sold off near 37, but it went back down to this 35.50, and it seems like buyers are starting to come back, right? So that is a good thing. That's a good thing. I think if you can hold above that 35.50, the short-term trend still remains intact. And in order for the shorter-term trend to be good as well, what we can look at would be this 20 days moving average. So this is what we call the short-term 20 days moving average, this green line right over here, right? So you can see this green line, it follows prices quite closely. It moves up and down because it's kind of like what we call, it represents the short-term trend, right? So if it's pointing down, it's not so good. If it's like pointing up with prices above it, like from February, or look at this, right? Pointing up, look at this, up right now. It is still slightly pointing up, so that is still a good thing, right? But if it starts to maybe flatten out right over here, then we might turn into what we call a sideways consolidation, all right, and that would be from this $35.50 to that $37 range. So in terms of the longer term trend for DBS, you can see that we have been forming what we call higher lows, right, over the past 2 years, 2 to 3 years in fact, right? Look at this right here, this is the low got a little bit higher, it got a little bit higher, so we can actually draw what we call an upward sloping, look at this right over here, an upward sloping channel support line connecting the lows, right? So this was somewhere in 2020, right over here, a little bit of resistance, support again, and touch. So in terms of the longer term, we have been forming what we call higher lows, so that's a good thing, but in order for the uptrend to really continue in the longer term, right, we need to break a very key level. As I mentioned, this level is none other than the 37. It's a multi-year high, the high that you were seeing in February 2022. If we do break that level, great. I would say that the longer term uptrend, not only the short term, but the longer term uptrend will also form up much clearly in the upwards direction. And you can see, right, in terms of the longer term, we look at what we call the red line, the 100 days moving average, and even the blue line, the 200 days moving average. So you can see for the past like 2 years, this red and blue line, of course, I mean, it was like positive, it was very good uptrend, red above the blue in 2021, right? Just after COVID, we saw a pretty good recovery. But since 2022, when they talk about rate hikes and inflationary pressures, the red and the blue line, look at this, right? They're just like moving up and down, crossing one another. I would say a little bit of a sideways movement, though slightly up, a little bit up, but sideways and up, right? So it's just pretty much moving sideways, right? But look at this right now, you can see that the 100 days moving average, right, this red line, and even the blue line, they are both starting to point up. In fact, I think the red is slightly above the blue line, so that is a good thing. That's a good thing, as I say, right? If we're to hold above that 35.50 or maybe even break that 37, well, that's a good thing. I think these two lines will continue to pull apart, pointing up, and they pull apart. That will give more weight to the longer term uptrend really taking shape as well. Okay, so let's take a look at what DBS says on my One GT system. So I have a web-based software called One GT, which is pretty much the name of the entire strategy called One Good Trend. So you can find out a little bit more, attend more of those free webinars. The link is right below, but let me show you what is happening for DBS on my system. You can see that this is DBS, and we had a couple of bearish signals. So you can see that since like beginning of the year, maybe in December as well, got a bullish signal, went up, and then it turned a little bit bearish, right? We sold off, we got a bearish red arrow pointing down. The trend bar is red in color at the bottom as well, and it sold off from like about 32.50 all the way down to 31 plus, and got an exit. And you can see that's when we started to see some signs of strength, right? Got a bullish entry signal, went up, got an exit, and look at this. I think this was pretty good. I think there was in March. I think I mentioned that in March we saw prices of all the banks surge up. So yeah, we got this bullish signal, green arrow pointing up. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 10, 15 days went up. We got an exit, right? We got an exit, and it started to consolidate. As I mentioned, we found some support around that $35.50 level, right? So you can see that we actually got a new bullish entry signal coming out as well over the past week. So it looks quite good. As I mentioned, if you can hold above 35.50, great. We might slowly maybe stage a bit of a rebound to 37, and if that level gives way, great. This bullish signal can start to play out even further, right? So this is what it says on DBS on my One GT system. All right, check out, attend one of those free webinars to find out a little bit more. All right, let's move on to the next bank. All right, OCBC over here. So I like this bank, compared to DBS, it has shown a pretty firm uptrend, right? Why do I say that? Well, you can see that, for OCBC since 2 years back, we have formed what we call higher lows, like I've drawn for DBS, right? But you can see that in this case, it's a very gradual, very firm uptrend connecting all the lows, and we have rebounded a couple of times in July 2022, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So very gentle, very firm uptrend. Each time it nears what we call the channel support level, and it just starts to rebound. And also from the moving averages, look at this, right? The red and the blue line, the 100 days and the 200 days moving average have actually started to point up, right, since like November last year. Whereas for DBS, it is just starting to take shape only, but for OCBC, it has been pointing up. Right now, it's still pointing up, and prices are above them. So it has really been what we call a longer term uptrend, right? So this is OCBC, and I want to share with you guys about this very key level. I talk about it as well in the previous video last month when I talked about the banks, and this level will be none other than the $13.50. So I think last month we were right below it. This is a very, very key resistance level, because you can see right over here in two years back, right, in 2022, same thing right over here. Let me just zoom it in, right? We kind of like headed there, all right, something like DBS as well, we headed there, and at a point in time, right, it could actually rebound or push higher above that $13.50. But what happens was we saw this doji. Look at this. This is what we call a very bearish candlestick, especially if it happens right at the resistance level. All right, this is what we call a doji. And after that, it consolidated a little bit, 1, 2, 3, and it just tanked all the way down. All right, so you can see we are pretty much capped below that $13.50 level since 2 years back. Right here in July, we neared it, came back down, neared it, came back down. Even here, somewhere in February, just 2 months back, same thing, we touched or neared it, came back down. But finally, right, finally, let's see when is it, right? Finally over here on the 21st of March, right? Great, right? We managed to break that $13.50 that we have been consolidating below for 2 years. So that is a good thing, right? That's a good thing, because as I say, we have been trading below for 2 years. We saw bearish candles there. By right, it should come down. By right, it should have selling pressure coming back, and we might retrace back down like we have seen. But finally, all right, sellers have given way, buyers broke through the level, and the key here is that are we still holding above this level, that that resistance that we have broken above? I mean, it doesn't make sense if it breaks above and come back down, right? But if it breaks above and it stays above and it holds above over the next 1 or 2 weeks, well, that is a good thing. So let's take a look right now. You can see that prices is at about 13.57. Thankfully, it is still above this 13.50. So let me just turn this resistance to green in color, because this resistance now over the past 2 years will now turn into what we call a support level. And yeah, it seems like buyers are slowly starting to come back near this 13.50, right? A couple of rebounds for it. I mean, we are right over here, 13.57, and it seems like we're still holding above it. So that's a good thing, right? But the key here is that what is the next resistance level that we need to breach in order to push higher? Well, we can take a look further as well. Right over here, you can see that this was in 2018, right? 2018, right over here at this level. Same thing. I think we saw another bearish candlestick, right? Yeah, I would say a spinning top with a upper shadow, upper wing, and then prices started to pull back down, right, in 2018. So that would be a little bit of a resistance. Let me go ahead to draw this resistance line right here. Let me put it in red color. I think that would be the $14. So let me just scroll all the way back, and you can see that, yeah, $14 is pretty much where we are right now, seeing selling coming back. So I think just last week, we saw some selling pressure as we neared that 13.89, the high, sellers came back. So that is the range right now. I would say from 13.50, all the way to $14. So it looks quite okay. I mean, as long as we stay above 13.50, I think we might just be seeing a bit of a short-term consolidation while the longer-term trend remains up. All right, and yeah, that could be good as well. I mean, you could take some profit, take a bit of a breather before attempting to break that $14 and maybe even pushing higher. And that's where we can raise our targets again. All right, and you can see that this 20 days moving average line, right? This 20 days moving average line, which represents the short-term trend. It's been pointing up, flat a little bit up, and right now, based on this 20 days moving average line, you can see that it is still pointing up a little bit, but maybe slightly flattening out. So yeah, it just means that we might be just in a sideways movement, and that would be the range, a 50 cents range from $13.50 to $14. So if you can get in maybe near $13.50 to catch a rebound to $14 and get out there, you could trade the range as well, but I think anything above that $13.50, this uptrend looks pretty intact still. So we've covered DBS and OCBC, and right now let's take a look at UOB. And you found some value so far, guys. If you like my analysis on these two banks, go ahead to give me a like, hit the subscribe button, the follow button, so that you will not miss out on any videos like this, and it will really help out the algorithm and the channel as well. All right, and guys, if you want to have like some of those top Singapore ideas by WhatsApp daily. I mean, we don't just talk about banks, we do share some of those ideas with my VIP clients in Phillip Securities, where I'm a broker. So that's part of the service. You get some of my private trainings as well. Do check it out. The link is right below on how you can come aboard as a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities and receive some of those top ideas for free. All right, you don't actually pay anything more. All right, so especially for you, if you are trading online on your own, you have a trading account, a mobile app, you log in, blah, 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 and you don't get any service, nobody contacts you, you got no ideas, no video, no WhatsApp, or you don't even know who your broker even is, do check it out. The link is right below. All right, come on board as a VIP client of mine to enjoy some of those services that we provide as well. All right, so let's move on to UOB right now. All right, UOB, and you can see that this is UOB trading at about $29.61. So yeah, not too bad. It seems like over the short term, we have seen a bit of a rebound from this support level right over here, the $27. I mentioned it as well in the previous video. Rebounded, great. So it seems like this $27 is holding. And also, we can also draw what we call a channel support line. So forming higher lows, right, over the past 3 to 4 months, which is a good thing, right? But let's take a look at what we call some of the key resistance level whereby sellers are actually coming back. So right over here, let me go to draw this resistance. I think that would be the $31.50. We can definitely expect selling right over here. You can see that was where we were trading below. Beginning of last year, sold all the way down right over here as well. But I would say $31.50. What about the next resistance? Maybe right over here, right? $30.20. I think right over here, it seems like sellers are starting to come back out, right? Right over here, right? Sellers came back, we sold off. Another one, we sold off. And yeah, it seems like over the past 2 weeks as well, as we approach this, $30 to $30.20, sellers are starting to appear. So if you lock in some profits near there, you can consider as well lock in some profits. I think that's fine. But the key here is that you can see that support is slowly getting higher. So there are indeed some signs of strength as well, right? So the support used to be like about 27. It became about $28. Look at this, right? Somewhere around 28, we got a bit of a support level that was in like February and March. You can see rebounded, and I think the support has gone a little bit higher because it seems like over the past 2 weeks we have seen buyers starting to come out near that $29. Look at this, right over here. So it's a bit of a resistance, right? We broke above it, and past 2-3 weeks, $29, buyers are starting to come back. Look at this, a couple of shadows or candles with lower shadows. That just means that prices kind of like headed down in the morning or in the day, and at the end of the day, all right, or near the closing, buyers came back up and pushed prices somewhere to the top, right? So that's a good sign of strength. These are what we call bullish candlestick bars, all right? And I would say support near term would be not 27, not 28, but right now over the past 2 weeks it is about $29. So upside could be from here all the way up to that $30.20, as I mentioned. That is potentially where some selling pressure can come back again, all right? So this is UOB, all right? You can see that the longer term trend has started to turn as well. Finally, you see, right? The 100 days moving average line, the red line, has crossed above the blue line. Look at this, it was all the way down since like July last year, traded lower. But right now, there are at least some signs of the longer term trend slowly turning up as well. And if we break that $30.20 or $30, great. I think this longer term trend will start to form up just like DBS, like I mentioned as well. Yeah, so there we have it, guys. These are the analysis of the 3 Singapore local banks that I get asked quite often on as well. DBS, OCBC and UOB. I hope you have a clearer picture of where we are right now for each of the 3 banks. What are some of the critical levels whereby selling can come back again near the resistance level that I talk about, and even support levels whereby some buying pressure or some bargain hunting can return again, right? So Joey here. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. That would really be helpful, all right? And I look forward to see you in the next video. Take care.